The moment that security guard put his hand on that man's shoulder and said, "Sir, I think you need to leave," that man smiled. And what happened next? Nobody in that dealership will ever forget. This is the story of a father, a paper bag, and a room full of people who made the worst mistake of their lives. They underestimated him. Marcus Webb had worked with his hands his entire life. 53 years old, a retired mechanic from a small town in Ohio. He wore the same beat-up brown jacket every day. His boots were scratched. His truck was old. He didn't talk much. He didn't need to. He spent 30 years under cars, fixing engines, saving up every dollar he could. Not for himself. He never cared much about things for himself. Every single dollar he saved for one reason. His daughter, Lily. Lily was 22. She had just graduated college, the first person in their family to ever do that. Marcus had watched her study. Late at night, at the kitchen table. When she was in high school, he watched her work 2 jobs in college just to pay for books. He watched her grow into someone he was more proud of than anything he had ever done in his life. And now that she had graduated, Marcus wanted to do something big, something she would remember forever. He decided he was going to buy her a car. Not just any car, a brand new one, with all the features. Something safe, something beautiful, something that would make her feel like all those years of hard work were worth it. Marcus had been saving for this for 6 years. 6 years of skipping vacations, eating simple meals, wearing old clothes. He had $67,000 sitting in cash. He put it in a plain brown paper bag, the same kind you use for groceries. And he drove to the biggest car dealership in Columbus. Now here's where the story changes. Marcus walked through those glass doors wearing his brown jacket, his scratched boots, and carrying that crumpled paper bag. He didn't look like money. He didn't walk like money. And the people in that dealership, they made their decision about him in about 10 seconds flat. A salesman named Derek was the first one to approach him. Derek was in his early 30s. Expensive suit, white teeth. The kind of guy who could smell a commission from across the room. He looked Marcus up and down. He glanced at the bag. Then he smiled the kind of smile that isn't really a smile. "Can I help you?" Derek said. The way he said it meant the opposite. Marcus told him he was looking for a car. Something nice. For his daughter. Derek nodded slowly, like he was doing Marcus a favor just by standing there. He walked him over to the older models on the side. The ones with fewer features. The clearance section, basically. He didn't even take Marcus to the new cars. "These are very affordable," Derek said. "Practical. Good for a young lady." Marcus looked at the cars. Then he looked back at Derek. "What about those over there?" He pointed to the brand new models. The showroom floor. The cars with the shiny paint and the big price tags. Derek almost laughed. "Those start at $50,000. "I know," Marcus said. "Can I see them?" Derek looked at him for a long second. Then he called over another salesman, a younger guy named Tyler, and the two of them started whispering and smirking. Tyler actually laughed a little. Not loud enough to be called rude, but loud enough for Marcus to hear. And Marcus heard it. He didn't say anything. He just kept walking toward the showroom floor. A third salesman, an older one named Phil, walked over and told Marcus that those cars might not be in his budget and that maybe he should think about financing. Maybe come back with a cosigner. Maybe look online first. Marcus nodded politely. "Can I just look at the silver one?" Phil sighed like Marcus had asked him to climb a mountain. This went on for almost 20 minutes. Marcus asking questions. The salesman giving half answers. Marcus asking to sit inside a car. One of them making a joke under their breath. Another one checking his phone while talking to Marcus. At one point, a well-dressed couple walked in behind Marcus and Derek immediately lit up. Practically ran past Marcus to greet them, shaking their hands. Offering coffee, the whole show. Marcus stood there alone next to a $58,000 car, holding his paper bag. That's when the security guard showed up. A big guy named Ron. Someone had apparently told Ron that there was a man in the showroom who didn't seem like a buyer and was wasting the team's time. Ron walked up to Marcus, put his hand on his shoulder, and said it, loud enough for people to hear. "Sir, I think you need to leave." The showroom got quiet. A few customers looked over. A woman near the reception desk stopped typing. Derek and Tyler and Phil stood nearby, watching, saying nothing. Marcus looked up at Ron. He didn't get angry. He didn't raise his voice. He just said, very calmly, "Okay, but can I just show you one thing first?" And then he put the paper bag on the hood of that $58,000 silver car. He reached in, and he started stacking bundles of cash, wrapped in rubber bands. Stack after stack after stack, placed neatly on the hood of that car. The sound of the money hitting the metal was the only sound in that entire showroom. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Derek's mouth opened. Tyler stopped smiling. Phil went pale. By the time Marcus finished, there was $67,000 in cash sitting on the hood of that car. He looked at Ron. He looked at Derek. He looked at all of them, one by one. Then he said, very quietly, I don't need financing. I don't need a cosigner. I just need someone to help me buy a car for my daughter. Now, is anyone here going to do that? Or should I take this across the street? Now here's something that people don't realize about cash purchases like this. In the United States, car dealerships are required to report cash transactions over $10,000 to the IRS. It's called the Form 8300. It's completely legal. Marcus knew this because he had done his homework. He had counted every dollar. He had been planning this moment for 6 years. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was prepared. He had just been waiting for someone to give him the chance to show it. The general manager of the dealership, a man named Steve Hartman, came out of his office. Someone had run to get him the moment the cash started hitting the hood. Steve was a different kind of man than Derek or Tyler or Phil. He was older. He had been in sales for over 30 years. And the moment he walked out and saw what was on that hood, he felt sick. Not because of the money, because he had been in this business long enough to know what had just happened. He had seen it before, a customer judged by how they looked, by what they wore, by what they carried, and pushed out before anyone even gave them a chance. He had told his staff 100 times, never judge a customer. Never. And his staff had done it anyway. Right there on his floor. To a man who had more cash in a paper bag than most people make in a year. Steve walked up to Marcus, extended his hand, and said, Sir, I am deeply sorry. This is not how we do business here. Please, let me personally help you find the right car for your daughter. Marcus shook his hand. He didn't make a big speech. He didn't demand anyone get fired. He just said, I appreciate that. The silver one. Full features. Whatever warranty you've got. And I want to bow on it. Steve laughed. It was the kind of laugh that had relief and embarrassment in it at the same time. We'll find you the biggest bow in Columbus, he said. While Steve and Marcus sat down to do the paperwork, the rest of the showroom slowly went back to normal. But something had shifted. Derek stood near the window, looking at his shoes. Tyler had gone quiet. Phil kept rearranging brochures on the desk like he needed something to do with his hands. Ron, the security guard, came over to Marcus before he left and apologized personally. He shook Marcus's hand for a long time. The transaction took about 45 minutes. Marcus signed the papers. He slid the cash across the table, bundle by bundle. Steve processed everything by the book, Form 8300 and all. And at the end of it, Marcus shook Steve's hand and walked out of that dealership with the keys to a brand new silver car. On Christmas morning, Marcus woke up before everyone else. He went outside in the cold, in that same brown jacket, and he put the biggest red bow he could find on the roof of that car. He parked it right in front of the house, under the living room window. When Lily came downstairs, she saw it through the glass. She didn't say anything for a full 10 seconds. She just stood there with her hand over her mouth. Then she turned around and looked at her dad. And Marcus, a man who spent 30 years under cars, who wore the same jacket every winter, who ate simple meals and skipped vacations for 6 years, that man cried. Right there in the living room. Because when your kid looks at you like that, there are no words for it. There's no amount of money that buys that moment. You can't plan for it. You can't prepare for it. It just hits you like a wave and all you can do is stand there and let it. Lily ran to him and held on and didn't let go for a long time. That car wasn't just a car. It was 30 years of early mornings. It was 6 years of saying no to things so he could say yes to this. It was every single day that Marcus chose her over himself without ever making her feel like it was a sacrifice. The story of Marcus Webb didn't end in a dealership. It didn't end on Christmas morning either. 3 weeks later, a video of Marcus stacking that cash on the hood of the car went viral. Someone who had been in the showroom that day had recorded it on their phone. It got millions of views. News channels picked it up. People shared it everywhere. And the comments, thousands and thousands of them, all said the same thing. That they had a dad like that. That they wished they had a dad like that. That they wanted to be a parent like that someday. Derek, Tyler, and Phil all left the dealership within 2 months. Some say they quit. Some say it was something else. Either way, they were gone. Steve Hartman issued a public statement apologizing for how Marcus was treated. He started a new training program at the dealership, something he called the paper bag rule. The idea was simple. You never know what someone is carrying. You treat every single person who walks through your door like they have $67,000 in a paper bag, because sometimes they actually do. And Marcus? Marcus framed that paper bag. He put it in a little shadow box and hung it on the wall in his garage, right next to a photo of Lily on graduation day. Two of the best days of his life, side by side. He never bought himself anything with what was left over. He put it back in savings. For Lily's future. For whatever she needed next. Some people walk into a room and demand respect. Marcus Webb walked into a room in a beat-up jacket, carrying a paper bag, and he waited. He waited until the room showed its true face. And then, quietly, without drama, without anger, he showed them his. That's not weakness. That's power. The real kind. The kind that doesn't need to announce itself.